Under the Scope.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Under the Scope. I'm Jared. With me, Earl. Let's get right to it. We just got out of a screening of a Simon Pegg film called Hector and the Search for Happiness. I had to get that out before I forgot the title again.
Not the quest for happiness.
Not the quest for happiness, not the search for Curly's gold. That was the quest for Curly's gold. He's searching for happiness.
Yeah, that'll be part 2.
This film opens in select theaters on September 19th.
I thought it was October.
October 3rd here in the Twin Cities area.
Yes.
And this film stars Simon Pegg, as we mentioned. Rosamund Pike. Are you familiar with the work of Rosamund Pike?
Tony Collette.
What?
Whatever her name is.
Tony Collette. Rosamund Pike, you'll see here again in the Gone Girl coming up this fall. Look, Butch is here to take his Corvette out for a spin. Hello, Butch.
Is that butt cheese?
Yeah, it is butt cheese.
It's butt cheese.
Tony Collette. You've got Stellan Skarsgård. Christopher Plummer.
And he does some plumbing.
And a bunch of other people.
Mind.
So,
yes.
This movie, Hector is...
a psychiatrist.
He's a psychiatrist.
They say it different in England.
He seems like he's a good guy. Seems like he gets along well, but he definitely seems unhappy, right?
He didn't know it, though.
He doesn't know it.
He has a nice routine life. See, I envied him in the beginning because he had a nice routine life. Everything was fine. And then, of course, the narrator says, but he needed to change. It's like, oh, God damn it. I know where this is going.
Hector lives with Clara, who's played by Rosamund Pike, and they seem to be getting along fine, having a good life. But Hector is confused because he isn't sure how to find happiness. He's not sure if he's happy or even what happiness is. So he decides...
He's got some demons from his past.
Right.
They're not like big demons. Maybe that's a bit of a strong word, but...
Some things are a bit unresolved in his life.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Yeah. So Hector decides that he's going to go kind of take himself a journey. He's going to go find himself. He's going to find what happiness is.
Out of the blue.
How people find happiness, what it means to everyone. So he packs up all of his travel gear. He gets a bunch of new travel gear that's all removable and convertible and reversible. It's all fancy.
And in all true independent arty films, everything's animated. Not everything, but like his journey comes to life in random drawings. And
we're getting to the production design already. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So he sort of leaves Clara at home. I like to use the English pronunciation of Clara because I watch Doctor Who, and that's how they say it.
And she's like, okay, what just happened?
Right. So she's left at home. She works for well, it doesn't really matter where she works on.
I couldn't figure that part out.
She works in marketing for a pharmaceutical company is what I got.
That like her because she's not pregnant. They do make a scene of that.
They do. Anyway, so he goes on a solo journey to China, to Africa, to America, several places. Well, that is in America. And he's along the way, he meets people and he tries to find out from them what's happiness to them.
There's a rich businessman. There's a woman of the night.
Yep, a woman of the night. There's a large African family. There's his I
don't want to say terrorist, but
there's a drug dealer. There's his childhood buddy who runs a clinic in Africa.
Yeah.
An old flame.
There's a monastery that's closed on Mondays.
He meets a lot of characters along the way.
The lady on the plane.
Each of them have, every step of the way he's meeting people, Earl. Everywhere.
You can't stop meeting people.
This is what happens when you go on a find yourself journey is you meet people.
And you go search for happiness.
You don't just go in and have an uneventful flight and stay in a middle-rate hotel and take in some sights.
Keep in mind, it's deep.
You're
it's
out
not
there
like
to
he's
find
looking
yourself.
under a rock going, happiness, are you there?
So as you said, he's got a journal that he's drawing pictures in and he's taking notes. And these tend to be animated throughout the film to sort of... sometimes they're used to sort of underscore points, and sometimes they're just there to be whimsical.
And sometimes they're there to say, here's what's happening.
Yeah.
To get it done so we don't have to have another scene of explanation. It's like, see, he's going to L.A. because
Anyway.
You find out he did have a thing, because he had that done, not done animation part toward the end.
Yes.
You're like, oh! And then Christopher Plummer shows up and ties the whole thing together with a Death Star helmet.
Well, we're all over the place in this review, but that's okay.
But it's fun. That movie was a little all over the place.
That's exactly right. So that's your basic plot. In the end, he probably does find himself. Who knows? This isn't the type of movie that's going to have a very tragic ending. So, you can guess for yourselves that how things might end up. What did you think of the film?
I enjoyed it. I never saw Walter Mitty, but from the trailers of Walter Mitty, I was just like, it seems like a low-rent Walter Mitty, but yet better told.
You're not wrong.
Yeah!
I saw...
That's how good I am. I've never seen it.
I saw
Walter Mitty.
What the heck is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty? And it was a similar thing. It was he...
Midlife crisis. I gotta travel the world.
Middle-aged character finds himself at a crossroads, and it's not... He wasn't searching for happiness necessarily in Walter Mitty, but it's a journey of personal discovery, and while Walter Mitty took more of a fantastical approach, I think, excuse me, than this film did, they're still thematically very similar. So,
but it seems like this one just had more of a point.
This one was better told. I will agree with that.
I think for me, I think they could have used a little more backstory in the beginning, maybe. I just felt like I was waiting too long to find out who that kid was.
There's an element of I think you're supposed to pick up along the way that he is sort of I don't know what the right psychological term for it is, but he's sort of repressed. He sort of hasn't grown up, and he hasn't kind of really realized himself into an emotionally complex adult. Yeah. And I think that's what the significance of the boy. I mean, that was him, obviously, as a child. And
don't give that away. That's
you knew it was him from the beginning. Come on.
I knew that, but
right, it's not
the twist.
Okay,
the
twist. Sorry about that.
I want to know if he really did kill his dog or not. That was a dream,
right? The first scene he's flying in a yellow biplane, and his dog is in the back seat, and he flips it over, and the dog falls out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm like, okay, I guess that's how this film's going to be set.
Evil plane assassin. That's what it's written in the credits. Evil plane assassin pops up, and then there you go.
So you said earlier that this film is a little all over the place, and I would agree with that. I think that some scenes are better than others. Some scenes have a nice grounded poignance to them. Like I think there's some good takeaways as far as like I can relate to the scene, or I can take something away from the scene and maybe think about it, reflect on it. Other scenes were just like, they're kind of there, they're fun, but I'm not really connecting. And some of the stuff was really, really slow. I'm going to be honest. I thought some of the stuff was slow.
I mean, it's like, what's nice is you're like, okay, I don't like this scene. Give me about 3 minutes, and it's going to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was kind of nice. You knew it wasn't just. It wasn't like he just decided to stay in Africa for an hour. It's like it kept moving, which I think is what saves the film from.
Right. If whenever you're sort of bored with a scene, and you're right, another one's around the corner that's going to present something completely different, because tonally this film is all over. Sometimes it's like really, sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's really serious and poignant. Sometimes it's like scary.
Sometimes it goes back to like the slapstick comedy that you know Simon Pegg for.
And I'm not necessarily against mixing tones and mixing genres, but I think you need to be very deft with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think this film was always deft with it. Sometimes it was a little. Sometimes the poignant stuff was a little schmaltzy, and sometimes the comedy stuff was a little too funny. I don't know.
Now I will say Simon Pegg.
I didn't get into it 100%.
Simon Pegg does get a stellar performance. I got to say, this is probably one of his best performances.
I would agree with you.
He powerhoused it.
You see an emotional range in him that you haven't seen from him before. Because
in a second he got the script, he's like, yes, please.
Now, I will tell you one thing, and you probably won't get this, but I will, because I'm going to say it. That made no sense.
I am ready.
I completely bought him as a doctor, and I'll tell you why I bought him as a doctor.
I bought him as a doctor.
Because he looks exactly like Michael Sheen, and Michael Sheen plays a doctor on Masters of Sex.
I was going to say his good acting ability, but...
I buy Michael Sheen as a doctor, and since Simon Pegg looks like Michael Sheen, and I didn't really pick up on that until now, but there are moments where the way his face is doing things and the way he might look away, I'm like, I'm watching Michael Sheen. It's amazing.
Now,
they could be brothers.
Now, look, if I'm going to...
I don't know.
That's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to say this beautiful. If you see this in the theater, and you see it at a theater that has drinking allowed in the theater, which I think is only Canada, in a couple places.
I hope this is going somewhere.
It is. Take
a
drink. Here's a drinking game for the film. Take a drink every time Simon Pegg squints, like that, because he squints a lot in this film.
He's a squinter.
But this is like king of the squinting. That's just a fun little tidbit. I'm done now.
All right.
You had one, I had one.
Well, now that you have your drinking game rules, I think it's time we give this movie a score.
Wait, one last thing.
Go.
The cinematography is
I had a
beautiful.
flow going.
Oh!
Go ahead.
The cinematography is superb. I really enjoyed the cinematography in this. It's one of the few films of recent time that I've said, that's good cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
The other one this year was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I know you're not a mark, but there's some beautiful cinematography in that film.
That's a good point in this one. The cinematography does a good job of sort of underscoring location and tone, and yeah, good job.
Yeah, and actually, I think what we're trying to hit on is it wanted to be like a crazy hipster art film, but it was like they didn't want to do that too. They couldn't decide as they were going through the film.
I just think it tries to do a lot of things and tries to push itself further than it's probably capable of going.
I would agree with that.
That's all. I don't know exactly how you make this a better film, but I feel like there's a better film to be had there. And it just didn't quite get there.
Film.
But it's not a terrible film.
You should, yeah. And it's from the director of Hannah Montana, the movie.
There you go. And let's give this movie a score.
The Scope score is 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars, folks. Not a bad film.
Nope.
While we debated the score, we came up with a better ending. But hey, if we told you all about that, that would be spoiling the film.
If you see the film, track one of us down, and we'll tell you the alternate ending that we wrote.
I'm surely going to do that.
I will do it. You know where to find me, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Look, if you want to hear about the alternate ending to this movie that we just discussed, you can write a comment down below, and we will respond with details of this alternate ending that we came up with. It's much better.
Yes.
I'm sure that screenwriters around the world will be looking to us for
knocking on the door.
Tips on how to punch up their scripts.
We'll be like Orky and Kurtzman, but coherent.
There you go. Hey, if you like what we're doing, you can like, comment, and subscribe. That's Earl. I'm Jared. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. The days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying arrivederci. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.
Damn, we just came up with a good ending for that.
We did, and it's all going to get cut out.